Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Philip. I was going to start by talking about the 7 baby steps, but I decided that if I shared my story with you first about where I am now and how I got to where I am, then maybe as I present the 7 baby steps to you, then I can kind of relate, use my own personal life as an example, and I can maybe explain some of the points a little bit better through the eyes of a common person. I'll give you a little bit of backstory to my life. I grew up in the average family. I was the youngest of 3 boys. My dad worked, and my mom was a stay-at-home mother. Uh, that was um, back until about a couple years ago. Now my mom is actually working full-time with my dad. But anyway, so I was born in 1994. I'm only 23 years old at this point in my life. And just graduated from college in May of 2017, so I'm fresh out into the world. Um, I just got married this past August, so everything that's major in life, when you start to, as they say, adulting, I'm kind of hitting all the big ones at once. I moved out of my parents' house, got married, and graduated all around the same time. But that's kind of where I want to start my story, just about when I was in college. So, uh, growing up, my parents always taught me to save money. And the principle that my dad had me learn as a kid was the 80-10-10 rule. Save 80%, put that all in the bank, put 10% to your own personal spending, and then 10% to our local church. And, those percentages weren't it wasn't like a law that my dad forced me to keep, and I definitely didn't. I probably should have, but um, as I did that, it gave me that mindset of saving money. And even when I had money in my savings, my dad said, you're not allowed to take it out until you get to college. And I thought that was pretty stupid at the time. I really had no idea why he would do that, why he would make me save so much money then not touch it. I mean, it was my own money. I earned it. I worked for it. And I did everything to get it to where it was, which at that point it wasn't, any significant amount of money. It was just, $30 here, $20 there. And it wasn't like it was added 100 times. It was maybe a $500 bank account, in my teenage years. It wasn't some large amount. But anyway, the principle was there, save the money, and then at college I realized, man, I'm not really making as much money as I thought I would. It's kind of nice to have a little bit, at least a little bit of money if I need it. So that's where the savings mentality was put in my brain, and I'm really thankful for that. So throughout college, I went to an affordable college. I didn't go to some college that cost $30,000 a year. I didn't have any kind of student loans to have to worry about. I was blessed in the fact that both my wife and my parents helped us both through college and helped us uh, to not have to worry about student debt, student loans. The college wasn't expensive for all 4 years. It was like a total of $30,000 for all 4 years per person. And so, uh, even though I worked and I did put quite a bit of my own blood, sweat, and tears into it, my parents kind of backed me up a little bit, and they helped me to make sure that all the bills were paid for college. So working through that, uh, my parents were helpful for me, and they taught me how to save, and they helped me uh, navigate myself into being financially, uh, I guess, sound in its own way. When I graduated college, I didn't graduate with any kind of student loans, no debt whatsoever. So that was a huge blessing. And then after graduation, up until the point that I got married, spent that entire summer just saving as much money as I could. And from that point, of course, I was living the Dave Ramsey lifestyle, trying to save, trying to, get my emergency funds. Of course, we'll get into all of that later. And then got married. Now I've been married for 3 months, 4 months now actually today, and it's been great from that point. We've followed a budget, we've lived by it, and we've been living below our means. And we're able to use some of the techniques that Dave Ramsey teaches in order to help our lifestyle out. So that's where I'm at right now. Both my wife and I, we work average jobs. She's a nurse. I'm a car salesman. So we're not exactly rolling in the dough. We make enough money to get by and to live somewhat comfortably, but we're not some mega millions. We're not making hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're just the average Joe. We live in an average neighborhood. And for the record, we don't even own the house we live in right now. We are actually renting that. We're actually about to move into an apartment soon. So we're definitely not, living the high life. That's for sure. Just again, your average Joes, uh, go to work 5 days a week kind of people. You know what I mean? It's just a regular life. But that's kind of where we are now. And as we get into the baby steps, I'll kind of give a little bit more as to what I've done and where I'm at and kind of how I'm doing it. And that way you can maybe see it from the perspective of somebody who is not on the Millionaire Hour of Dave Ramsey. It seems like every time I watch Millionaire Hour, it's always about somebody who made $300,000 a year, and their millionaire story is because they had, all this rental property, and, because they made so much money, they had that mentality to save 20 grand a year and all of this stuff. I mean, it's just not as common for your average person to be able to do that who's making, less than $100,000 a year. So that's why we can get into this and we can kind of talk about it. I don't want to get too personal with our finances because I may have friends and family watching, and I just don't want that information getting too personal. But I do want to use this time as construction to be able to coach, to be able to teach. What I do want to encourage is questions. If you have questions on, what I should do, how I should do this, I want to be able to give input. This is what I've started the channel for, to be able to use my life as an example, to be able to coach other people, and to be able to just be a blessing and be a help if I can. But if there's also somebody who's older and wiser, which isn't that much harder to do, please tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me, what mistakes I might be making if I'm telling you I'm doing this, but I should really be doing that. I want to learn and I want to get input. But thanks for watching today. That's a little bit of my story. Please do remember to like and subscribe, and we will be up again soon. Thanks. Have a great day.